Hello and welcome to Dice Breakers, a D&D podcast and stream with mostly accurate rules and inconsistent character voices. I'm Alex, your host and DM, and with me are Greg, Purdy, Mark, Simon, and not Joe, my wonderful players. How is everyone doing today? Joe is not here because he is in fact busy, and Simon has apparently changed his name to Simon.
Hello, yes, it is me, Simon.
I was convinced that when I came on that Joe was part of this, and I'm like, I'm sure Joe's not in, but it was Simon.
Yeah, exactly. It's confusing.
Yeah, Simon has now become the past tense. I do not mean that he has died, I just mean he is now Simoned.
Uh,
The session is still young, so.
The session is young, yes, everybody could die. Moving on.
The session is young and everybody is in
Let's go on to the last week, shall we?
Yeah.
I like how I got 2 years ago when we started doing this. I will get to the last time on. This is all in podcast. 2 years ago when we started doing this podcast, I was so specific about the wording, the camber, the tone, everything.
You were very
everything.
strict about a lot of
And now I'm just like, hey, look, an intro vaguely exists these days.
3 months ago, you were very strict about it.
Who needs them?
Yeah.
Well,
Never catch on.
anyway, last week.
They're just like us.
Last week, the Strangelings leapt back into their game of sports ball, having waited out the storm. During the storm, it had been decided that Zegeth's research intelligence would be best suited right now to help him find a safe way for Ray to get home and find Flora. So, with him gone, they had to sub in Felix, who luckily had just arrived from the surface. They fought hard and inarguably trounced the opposition, winning the game 3-0. The king was impressed and granted their request to speak with them. They explained the situation with the Golden Dragon and need for knowledge of why the islands were sinking, and he immediately told them that the islands were sinking because of their mining operations of Hum, and they would not be stopping as many lives would be put at risk. So, they left to bring the news to Rayorin, who was not happy, but understood. And so, she agreed to help them protect from the ancient red dragon she named as Starkrum, and they set off back to the mainland. But things, as usual, did not go smoothly as would be expected. While thinking about whether or not the giant black void dragon was actually dead or not, Barty realized he could probably communicate with it and asked why they attack. He did so, and the result was unexpected. The dragon breached through the walls of their plane and halted the Falcon, being forced to land on the ground by Rayorin, entering a standoff of gigantic dragons. The black void dragon expressed his displeasure of his mind being invaded by Barty, but also made a very unexpected proposal. He stated that Ray is not meant to be in this world and offered her safe passage back to her own world, a one-time deal. After deliberation, she decided to go, taking the Stone of Life with her and her hopes. And just like that, they flew off and disappeared into the nothingness. We are currently standing on the Falcon, the wonderful flying airship, having just literally at this point watched Ray disappear into the abyss of nothingness. Rayorin has transformed back from a gigantic dragon, a golden dragon, into her human form. And you're all left sort of staring at the sky, wondering, what happened?
I'm staring at the sky and Simon appeared. There.
Just for clarification, of course, this means everyone except for Ray is currently there, including Zegeth.
Simon's face.
It is Simon's face. Okay,
It is.
this is where you do this. I've opened this up. I've finished talking. Doesn't
Oh,
matter.
right. Good.
So I walked away, so I don't know what's going on.
But you walked away?
Yeah. Purdy
No,
walked,
like-
not Elsie.
Purdy
You don't get a
walked away.
redo. You don't get a redo. You don't get the redo.
Who wants a
Basically-
redo? Nobody asked for a redo.
My door went.
Did it? Well, go and get it back.
I tried to, and then I gave up and came back to D&D.
Anyway,
yeah.
Stare at
So,
the sky.
so it's
Ah,
gone.
too
Yeah.
loud.
What's that? What's our golden dragon?
So what? So
The golden dragon is sort of just standing there. I believe at the end of the session she said something along the lines of, "Well, I don't like that because I don't recognize that dragon." But other than that, you've probably there's been a couple minutes where you have transported yourself back up to the ship. The captain is getting things back up and ready, checking all the systems. It's not good to slam on the brakes like that.
So what are we going to do now?
Continue heading for Veluna. I need to speak to my father.
Well, Barty is probably just kind of in shock, being a little quiet about the giant dragon that threatened him about entering his mind and questioning his choices to be quite so forward. I guess Zegeth says she did want to leave. I don't doubt that Ray will find a way back. So
I didn't want it to go like that.
This is very sudden.
it does mean I guess I'm sticking around for now.
Yeah, that would be appreciated.
Yes.
Well, my need to go off and investigate has sort of been mitigated.
Indeed.
But also, it would be a little bit bad for us to lose two powerful members of our party simultaneously.
I'm a little concerned about being called
I'd be an
old
idiot
friend,
not to.
but that will be something to approach in a future point
Yes,
when the
I'm-
world is not.
Well, I
completely-
mean,
I was going to ask you, do you recognize this dragon from when you're, as I understand it, you were
I
trapped
thought you
in
said that was the
rock
one that
for a
you
while.
killed.
it seemed to be the one that we killed that came after Ray originally. When
I
I
guess
was
that's
in
kind of friend.
when I was in
Sort
that dead zone, there was always a larger dragon. I presume to be this one. Seemed to be in charge in some way, but I did not interact. I mostly avoided the large one for good reason.
Understand that. I'm also slightly concerned at the loss of the object which we were transporting.
I think that's about as far away from the bad guy whose name I've forgotten.
It's not really a loss so much as
Yeah.
movement. If my
Yes.
theory, which has mostly been proven to be correct, is correct, it's on a different world, miles
But-
and miles and thousands
Which
of miles
is
away.
quite difficult for the bad guy to get hold of in that
Is
case.
it? We know it's difficult for us to access, but is it difficult for them? What if we just put our friend Ray in?
Well, it's no
Huge danger.
it's no easier to access than it would be in Veluna, and it might be harder.
But on the other hand, if it is possible for them to access, we are not there to help.
Why?
I don't think we could help that much, to be honest, given our previous encounters with, the enormous red dragon. And
Most of the time, we have
Well,
had to run most of our.
I mean, Tabby, you know
Plans
better than
are
everyone
based.
else.
I would presume right now that if they are going to go for any stone, it'll be the one that's underneath Veluna. That will be, even if both are possible to access, probably easier. I don't know magic so well, but I know transportation, teleportation, and for anything that kind of a distance it's a lot of power.
Yes, I also had other reasons for wanting that stone to be in the vicinity.
Oh?
We'll worry about that later.
That sounds like something we might want to worry about now.
Nothing which
Rather
needs to
than
concern us
wait.
at this time.
If we are planning to
Okay.
use these stones for personal gain, I believe there will be objecting parties.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a great idea, I'm not going to lie.
And the stone of life. I mean, stone of chaos, I understand. Anyway, the point is, for now, back to Veluna, I believe, is our next.
We will approach this later. And now that the ship and everything has been, sort of all the checks have gone over, the captain has sort of okayed everything from the top, and Bertano has been sort of checking the actual systems, physically making sure it's all good. The ship raises up just a little bit and sets off once again. You're not too far away, only a couple hours away from getting to the other end. Hilariously, technically, I think this would have interrupted a long rest, but seeing as you've already done your long rests and all that, I'm not going to mess with that too much.
This is maybe a question that we might have had answered already, but I've kind of forgotten. What fuel are we using for the upgrade of the ship?
Tut. Every couple weeks or every now and again, the captain has to go back to Hydra to get refueled with a special fuel that has been created because it's experimental engine, so the fuel is like a much cheaper cost to him. But that means he goes back every now and again whilst you're doing your stuff.
Oh, okay.
Hence why he was situated in the floating in the sea whilst you were over the sea, so that there was no fuel wastage.
Mhm.
Anyway, you zoom across Carmanthia back towards Veluna. Like I said, it only takes a couple hours. If there's anything you wanted to cover in that time, you're more than welcome to before you arrive once more. It's to the people of Veluna, it is a becoming more of a normal sight. The strangelings appearing in their gigantic ship over top of Veluna.
Back.
Hello. Of course, it's probably late afternoon. Sun is setting behind the mountain, and I think it's been a while since we've explained. I think Veluna at this point, because it's been built up, being built up a lot more, is just looking prettier and prettier by the day. The streets are busy. There's lights all over the place. The buildings that used to be a lot more dilapidated, a lot of them have been built up and fixed up and sort of generally made to look a lot more clean. The streets are cleaner. Any of the sort of, potholes and stuff have finally been fixed. It just generally from above, it's looking more like a city and less like a wreck. You will teleport down. I don't know where you're planning on going down to.
I don't remember, because Tav's only been to Veluna that one time briefly.
You wouldn't have seen it in its worst state.
No, that's right. But I'm also trying to think if I went to see... Yeah, I went to Elsie's aunt's place last time.
Yeah. I believe so.
I'm trying to remember.
I mean, probably. Bear in mind, there's a lots of hours and stuff in which you haven't... we don't RP in session, so you would have made it to these places. I reckon quite often you end up going to Dugnet's Stream just for a drink or something.
So, but we're going to base ourselves in the guild, I imagine.
I would assume so. So you all down, using the little the teleportation down to the surface and walk into your lovely guild hall. You're met by your receptionist, who I still have not named. Who there's not much has happened in the meantime.
She's
not
called
been too much.
Fran.
She's called Fran. I'll try to remember that. Fran comes up. She's like, "Oh, not much has changed since you left. A couple packages. It seems as though the local baker has decided that they want to give you some bread. Other than that, just some letters, a couple bills,
What have we got letters
deal
for?
with them later.
Bills.
What bills, I suppose?
Covering costs of food for the staff and general maintenance stuff that we need to get to keep everything in order.
Just put them in my office. I'll deal with them later.
A couple of signatures needed for paychecks. That's all fine.
Elsie just goes off to her room.
All right. So yeah.
Been a tough journey.
leave you
Friends,
to it then.
I'm going to go and see if I can speak to my father. I'll see you. What time of day it is? Is it?
Late afternoon. Like I said, the sun is setting. It sets quite early, as you know. The suns, I should say, are setting because they set quite early in the day. It's 4 o'clock, 5ish, that kind of time.
That's good because it'll be towards the end of the working day. So, I wish to have a conversation with my father. I'll return later, and perhaps we can go into town for something to eat.
Zegith probably goes off to console Elsie, just see how she's doing. Felix sort of just left there, really. Barty has also gone off to his room. He says he's going to go make some potions and things, try and make a couple of healing potions, things like that. I believe that is what I have the instructions of.
I don't know
making
what. I think Felix will probably just go back to the kitchen because
It's your little area.
it's my little area. I don't really know what to do now. Ray's gone.
Nearby to Barty, he has his own little sort of area to make his potions and stuff, but it's near the kitchen, so you probably spend a little bit of time just sort of in the presence of him whilst he's doing this and that. He might make you a little bit of what did he made you some warm something last time. I don't remember what it was to sort of generally make you feel more comfortable. Yeah, I believe he did. I can't remember. It wasn't something you could actually eat, but I believe he made something warm for you to feel.
Wasn't it just like a cup of hot water or something?
Yeah, it was something like that. Just
warm plate, wasn't it?
Warm plate. It was a warm plate. I believe it was. Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't. I don't remember. Anyway, the point
I
is,
remember a warm
this
plate, and you just rubbed it against your face.
I don't remember this at all, which is concerning. Maybe. There we go.
Sounds about
Part,
right.
part of my brain's feeling like a warm plate rubbed against faces for a different podcast.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
I think you've mixed our campaign with
It's
a
High
different
Rollers.
campaign. I think that's
Yeah.
High Rollers.
That's what
Is
Sentry
it?
does.
Oh, I was going to say
Yeah.
an ASMR podcast, but
Yeah, I believe that's
I don't even remember that from High Rollers.
That's what their
Sentry
Warforged
does it
is.
all the time.
Sentry was saying that, not
Oh.
Felix.
whoops.
Really?
Different
Yeah.
worlds, different
I don't
Warforged.
even remember that.
Yeah. Anyway,
I still think you had a warm plate.
I don't think I
I
did.
think it was like a cuppa or something.
yeah.
Oh, it might be a
Anyway.
warm cup.
I don't
Yeah,
remember any of
know.
this.
It was something warm, and it was something
It
crockery.
doesn't fucking matter, is what it is. Anyway, seeing as it seems most prominent right now, Tav, you're making your way to, I assume, to the clock
Making
tower.
your way down.
That's where you mostly know your
Clock tower
father is.
first to see if he's there. If not, then
Sure.
I'll head off back to the hollow.
Walking through the town, it's a little bit of a distance from where you're. Actually, no, I think Gothel isn't too far from the thing. Either way, whilst you're walking through the streets, you do notice things don't look too different. The only thing you really notice is there's a lot more people walking around wearing like building gear, as in like some dungarees and that kind of thing. A lot kind of dirty faces, mucky hands, and every now and again you're noticing what seem to be like temporary stores of just like a lot of rock and dirt, and some people every now and again with like a wheelbarrow chucking it in. You may or may not remember why that would be happening, but eventually you make your way around
Sure.
to the.
I come up, but tap on it.
You're making your way around
Making my
to
way.
the clock tower. Of course, the guards at the front by this point completely recognize you, and you're allowed up, walking up those horrible, horrible narrow stairs, especially for you because you're quite a wide person.
Rude.
He is. He's just got wide shoulders. He's muscular. And you get to the
Yeah.
top. It's the classic busy scene, even though it's late in the afternoon. You know, the diplomacy never stops. There's Fryn doing the paperwork at the speed of light as usual, and you see your father, Fairquin, leaning over the table where the map is. You've seen it multiple times. It seems to have like another like film over the top of it with a load more drawings and things. A few other people that seem to be heads of departments that you don't really recognize also looking over the map as they are in deep conversation.
Well, I would attract his attention, but I wouldn't go over and disturb them.
So you circle around. He definitely notices you and sort of puts up a finger, just sort of recognizes your presence. And it's probably 5 or 10 minutes. You see the conversation come to an end. They nod, they shake hands. These other parties seem to head off. And your father wanders over, seems
Puts
a
up a
little,
finger.
a little, not flustered. He doesn't really get flustered, but it's like he's a lot's going on, a little stressed about things. Sort of walks over. He's like, Tevriel, sorry, I've been slightly busy.
Father, he's yes. It looks like your plans are coming together well.
We have made fairly good progress on these underground tunnels, making them safe, structurally able to take the people of Veluna. It is not complete in its entirety yet, but definitely usable.
That is good.
I hope you come back with good news.
Well, in our travels, we have certainly come across, let us say, entities who would be dangerous, but we have made friends with at least one entity who can help us.
Should we bring in Fryn for this conversation? I believe it was her idea to attempt to find a golden dragon.
Yes, I think perhaps she would be interested.
All right. He turns around, walks off to Fryn. Obviously, just mentions something. She signs a couple pieces of paper, puts those down, stands up. The three of you are like massive as well. You know, the three ASMR standing up here. There's a load of other ASMR, but they're all currently sitting down. Any other humans or elves and stuff wandering around, they're like at least half a foot smaller than you, and you guys are just massive. Anyway, you get taken over to a little side room. These rooms that I don't think Tav was there to see them as this, but they used to be bedrooms. You know, but these days, so much more of Veluna has been made up and stuff like that. Though there are places to sort of sleep in the tower, a lot of the people that used to sleep in the tower now sleep in just actual houses, proper houses and things like that. They've been converted into these simple meeting rooms, a table in the middle, maybe some paintings up. You'd recognize, you know, one that kind of looks like the mountain, maybe one that looks like what the city would look like from above by someone that hasn't seen it from above.
And is
You
it
know.
in the middle of the table? One of those conference phone call.
Yeah, except it's like stone, you know. It's got a little rune on it. So I'm calling you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
I'm putting you on
Can you hear
hand.
me?
I'm putting you on hands free. Hello.
Try standing around the front of it. I don't think it's a bi-directional mic.
Oh god. Anyway, you walk into this room. You'll just take a seat. I think Fringe naturally takes a seat at the head of the table, and naturally, Fairquin, your father, also just takes a seat. I imagine you just follow suit, just take a seat as well.
If they sit down, I'll sit down as well.
And Fairquin speaks up. He says, "Right. So, not to step on your toes, it seems as though, if I understand this correctly, the Golden Dragon has been found to exist, and potentially a deal has been struck."
Indeed, the Golden Dragon. We met the Golden Dragon, who is able to transform into human form. Performed a task for her, which I'll come back to in a moment, which raised some questions for me personally. But the Golden Dragon herself has agreed to help us. She is with us. I don't know where she is, by the way. I presume at some point when we came back to Faerun, she must have stopped.
She was on the ship.
Noticed.
She's on the ship with you.
In her human form.
She came down with you into the guild hall. I imagine she we didn't really approach it, but I imagine she.
Her and Etch are having a conversation.
No, she probably just went for a little walk around because everyone seemed pretty busy, and you all seemed to trust her, so she's just taking a look. You know.
So she is
We'll get to
here.
that conversation in a second.
Yeah. She is here amongst us. She is able to take the form of a human female. Therefore, I'll introduce you at some point. But she seems amenable to helping us. We've explained our situation and our plans. Obviously, discussions yet to be had, but yes, the journey was a success in that sense. We also encountered the Black Dragon again, which came from the Rent in the Sky. I think we mentioned him before. We thought he had been slain, but apparently he was only, I don't know, perhaps injured. Anyway, he has. We made contact with him as well. He was neutral. I wouldn't say friendly, but he has transported one of our number back to their home plane. That's all you need to know at the moment. I think we'll have a meeting at the guild hall where we can all get together at the same time and discuss what happens next. But so far, our plans are progressing well.
A friend speaks up and says, "Well, it's good to know that this ancient gold dragon actually exists. It would be good to meet her," I believe you said her, "and talk in more details about the plans, obviously with you as well. From our side of things, I don't know if you have been told, the tunnels are in a position where we could use them. It is probably better to do this sooner than later. The number of people that know the reason for the tunnels is minimal. It is kept within our council, and for you, we will possibly have to explain to the other ASMR partially what is going on. If they see the ancient golden dragon, they may be curious. It would be rare for two golden dragons to exist, and there may be confusion. But this is good news. This is
Two
positive
golden
news.
dragons. Oh, never mind.
You know that this would be confusing for them. You are correct. It is late in the day now, but maybe tomorrow we should have council in the guild hall talk about this with all of your party. The black dragon concerns me. Is this creature still around? Has it also taken human form to follow?
No, the Black Dragon, as far as I know, is unable to take human form. I've not seen it do so. It doesn't live in our world. It lives in the void between worlds. However, it appears to be able to enter our world whenever and wherever it wishes to. At the moment, it doesn't seem inimical to us, although it doesn't. It seems more like a policeman. Its task is to make sure that people stay on their own planes. As long as we limit our teleportation, which seems to damage the wall between the realities, we avoid long, powerful teleportation, then the dragon, I think, will leave us alone.
Yes. I feel I would be failing to do my job if I didn't ask why this dragon came to you.
I believe you met Ray.
We have met Ray many a time.
And Ray, as you are probably aware, comes from a different plane.
Yes, this is true.
And her existence in this plane appears to have attracted the Black Dragon, who, as I say, appears to be policing the position of things between different planes.
How come this dragon has only appeared now? Ray has been here for a while.
I think, as I understand, the dragon would have been aware of Ray's existence here, but we contacted the Black Dragon to find out why we are getting these attacks. He came to talk to us.
You contacted the dragon?
Yes.
Can you expand on that?
I didn't contact the dragon myself. One of our party did.
Interesting. Right. There are many questions that I have, but we can bring those up in a more official context tomorrow. For now, ensure that this dragon is not revealed as of yet. This would be bad. I don't know if it is uncomfortable or painful for the dragon. You have not mentioned its name.
God, I've forgotten it. But I've probably got rid of Rayoran.
Rayoran. I do not know if it is uncomfortable
or
for her to be in human form. If needed to be in dragon form, the mountain top would probably be suitable for now. There is a cave system which we have cleared out since the problems. There are still the skeletons of giant purple worms up there, but it should be temporarily amenable for a dragon.
Yes, I will pass that on. In the meantime...
Just skip over the purple worms.
Yeah, exactly. I remember them.
Well, but Tav has no idea what those are.
He would just take it in his stride, I think. Yeah, he wasn't there, exactly. Nice to see their skeletons now, though. Yes, I will inform the members at my party. Perhaps you would come to the guild, perhaps mid-morning tomorrow?
We will make it as early as possible. I shall be around at sunrise with Fairquin and a few others.
I will let them know. Then I will see you tomorrow. I need a short conversation with my father.
Then I shall leave you to it.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing this for us.
It is my duty and pleasure.
And she stands up as the way of Fryn and just leaves.
Yeah, exactly.
T-poses out of there.
She was already an ASMR. She just didn't know it.
Yeah, right. That's why it was just a natural.
I'm just waiting for. I'm waiting for Edge to sort of get killed and come back as ASMR as well, because it's just like an ASMR. She just sort of have a conversation, very, very down to earth. And then right off now, bye.
Your father sits, has a curious look on his face. He's a little ragged. I mean, ASMR, obviously, they don't need to eat, but they do need to sleep, and it seems as though he hasn't been having much of it recently. But he's still attentive, he's ready. He's in more of his work stuff, so he's got like proper little armor and stuff like that on rather than his casual gear. And he sits one elbow down, scratching the scruff of a beard that's sort of appearing around his face.
Father, you look a little tired. You're obviously working hard.
It has been a difficult few days, though I don't think I have any place to complain considering what you have been going through. I am surprised to hear that the legends of our ancient golden dragon has been true, though I don't recognize the name.
Well, I've never heard the name. When I was growing up, my mother told the story. If you only ever referred to the dragon as... Oh, what was the phrase? It was a Latin phrase. Big worm.
The big lizard.
Magna...
Dracona
or something like that.
Carter.
Big lizard. Magna Carta.
Magna Carta.
Yes.
The third of Beyonce's children.
I personally have never believed that the dragon existed. Just a child's story, but For the first time in my life, I am glad to be proven wrong.
Yes, I was more than surprised to find the dragon was not only real, but able to walk amongst us as a proud human female. I hope that she will be amenable. She seems pleasant and helpful, although not to be trifled with. I mentioned that she asked us to perform a task for her to prove our worth.
Yes.
The task that she asked us to perform was to discover why islands are sinking. For the purposes of which she directed us to an undersea city populated by Tritons off the coast of our island. Did you know that city existed?
I was aware.
We went to the island and I discovered two things, really. One was the reason for the island sinking is that the Tritons are mining a mineral called hum, which they use in many, many ways, which is the core of their economy and their life. However, the excavations are causing the island surface to sink below the level of the sea. Were you aware of that?
He pauses because he knows he can't lie to you. You are connected, as has been mentioned before.
Yeah.
But I think it's more about phrasing more than anything. He pauses and he sort of looks away. It's very uncommon that he doesn't have like this eye contact, this sort of important man in the room eye contact. But he looks away for a second, but then looks back and says, I was aware there was a mining operation. Yes.
The final thing that I learned, which is why I wanted to speak to you, was that the reason that relations between the Tritons and ourselves was terminated, the reason the Tritons have been excavating without telling us, is because we broke off relations with them in your grandfather's time, 800 years ago. And I wondered, did you know about that?
There are many things that I have not told you. This is not through a disbelief that you could handle the truths, or that you did not deserve to know the truth. But you left earlier than the age that I would have told you. Though there is no physical war between the Triton and the Aasimar, it is true that a long time ago there were contentions which came to a less than amicable resolution. This is not something that I have made any attempt to solve, but it has been some generations of kings of Malabi that at this point it did not seem worth confronting, especially with the other problems we were facing. I did not know the exact details of their mining operations, how much it was affecting us, and what they were mining or how integral to their society it was, but our decisions to leave Veluna, to leave the Ceres Islands to Veluna, were influenced heavily by the knowledge that these sinking islands would not be changing.
I understand. But surely, if you could have made contact with them, you could have prevented the sinking.
You tell me. You have spoken to the king.
True. He wasn't. He was very adamant that the mining would not be stopping.
You must understand that what I have done, and my father, was through best intentions for the survival of our people. The Triton are not like other societies. They are more like us. They are powerful warriors. They are organized and would pose a very significant threat to our people. I do not believe that they could defeat us in war, but I do believe the fallout would be significant.
See, I need to think on this. I have one last question relating to this. Something that was mentioned during my travels. Obviously, during my absence, the occupants of the other 2 islands, bugbears, vampires, have gone. They were there when I left. Now, they have all died. Obviously, a war with us that we won. The question I have is, who struck first?
Han Solo.
In all reality, I think the answer is far more complex than a simple answer of yes or no. But if you are asking me or forcing me to say, it would have been us. Our attack was preemptive. The bugbear were aggressive. They were threatening the very survival of our people. We did not intend to also gain war with the vampires, but as things progressed, the bugbear attacked the vampires attacked us. Everything became one cluster of aggression. I truly believe that if we had not struck first, our people would not have the numbers that we have today.
This is entirely against everything that the ASMR have always stood for.
I disagree. We are a race of survival. I taught you this from a very young age. If we know how to survive, we will survive.
We are also a race that helps those that need help. We are not aggressors.
We did not plan to initially attack. If there was another path that I had seen, we would have taken it.
Well,
I know you have been away a while, affected by human presence, and I hold no malice against this. But I feel it has clouded your judgment as to how the ASMR should react.
well, it would be unfair of me to judge in hindsight something I was not there to see. We'll talk again about this. But thank you for being honest with me.
Even if it were possible for me to lie to you, I would tell you the truth. You are my son.
You are a skilled diplomat. If you wished to conceal the truth behind truthful words, I'm sure you could.
I appreciate that this is difficult for you to understand. Our people committing such atrocities in war is regrettable, and I bear the burden of the deaths of every single person and creature during that war. Maybe it will console you slightly to know that, as the way the ASMR do, none of the enemy were in pain, none were tortured. All deaths were quick and honorable. I don't know how much you adventured through the main town, but near the western coast there is a memorial. We do not know the names of those who died, but there are stone columns to represent their lives.
A difficult time. I feel ashamed I left.
At the time, As I have said, I was angry that you would leave as such, but it has been a long 60 years. I have come to understand why.
I think as I've become older, have understood more of what you were trying to do when I became a father myself. I sort of began to see the world is not as black and white as it seemed to be when I was a 20-year-old arguing with you in your office.
It is late. I have work to do, but if you wish to come round to my residence later this evening, I'm sure we can talk over dinner.
Thank you. That's very kind. I'll perhaps
This
see
is
you
about-
in.
It is about time that I ate. It has been quite a while.
I will, in that case, see you in perhaps 2 hours.
I shall see you soon.
Farewell.
And as is the way, he gets up,
Yeah,
pauses for a second
walk
to
out.
look at you, and just walks up.
Only thing they're missing is saying, "This is the way," as they leave the room.
This is the way. You know what? I have never really thought about it that way, but it really does push
Yeah,
that,
it's
doesn't
quite
it?
a
The careful wording, it's the, the honorable this and that.
Honor, strength, survival.
Apple.
And
Well,
Nathan
it
Martin
makes you
never
feel
removes
better
his
about our
mouth.
genocide. We didn't torture anyone.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. I was like, well, it helps a bit.
Great, thanks
Not a
for
lot.
that, Dad.
Well, think about how bad
Oh,
you
it could
feel
have been
if he's
worse, I
like,
suppose.
we were torturing them at every moment we could. You know?
Well, yeah, but I mean, just because you didn't commit war crimes doesn't make your genocide better.
Well, it's a bit better.
I mean, better, I guess, not good.
Again, it's better than doing it.
Unless you're doing-
Let's save
Not as
moral
good as
debates for
the-
the talk.
Yeah, I
talks
mean,
episodes.
Anyway,
So, Tavel,
meanwhile,
head over to the window and jump out and just fly back to the.
I'm
not going down those damn stairs again. The stairs are just too narrow. I'm just going out the window.
just lights out the
I just forgot that Tav had wings. I was like, wow, the conversation affected him so badly he just jumped out.
He messed himself.
Dad leaves the room. He just stands by the window and goes, "Woo!"
Meanwhile, stepping back slightly in the evening, Etch, you'd be
Hi.
probably in the workshop in the guild hall, yeah?
Yeah, be working
tinkering
on
some
something.
tools.
Yeah, I've
That
got
was
the.
nice.
And at this point, he has the Merolaeus blade nicely hung up above its forge, and he's just tinkering away, working on some things that he's got ideas about.
As a quick side note of swords, you all have a little area for memorabilia, like a little museum of your own. Of the, what would have been added in there that I've never mentioned before. I realized when Zegith came back from the empty plane. If you remember, he brought back a sword made out of the horn of the Nightwalker,
yeah.
which he no longer uses for its practicality. That would probably have been placed somewhere in there as well,
Cool.
because it's a cool little thing. Anyway, that's just a side point. You're just chilling in there, probably in your own little head, and then something distracts you. You're so sort of focused on whatever tiny little piece of work you're working on. You're just like, wait, should I have been paying attention to something else for a second? And then after that, you hear a second. You realize now a second on the door. Not very often you get knocks on the door.
Come in.
To come in, and the door sort of opens rather confidently. There's no sort of peeking, and you see a lady standing there with sort of greyish hair. It's definitely human, maybe mid to late 50s. A couple wrinkles, nothing too much. Wearing this yellow top and these sort of tightish trousers, these wonderful heels, with a cigar that is currently unlit for the purposes of being inside. Who just sort of walks in and says, "Well, this is an impressive room."
Thank you. Can I do anything to help you, or?
Not particularly. I'm just having a search around.
Fair enough. Are you another stray that the Strangelings picked up, or?
I guess you could say that, yes.
Fair enough. This is my forge. Working on making some armory pieces for them.
Ah, you're their blacksmith.
and founding member-ish.
Well, I guess every guild hall needs a blacksmith to help found it. It's a lovely place, though. I like the
Thank you.
blade on the wall. Is that one of theirs?
No, we found that in an old temple over on 4th.
Hmm.
It's,
You seem to have
show her my hand. It's kind of bonded with me a little bit.
with you. Oh, how
Yeah.
unfortunate. I would have thought it would be better with a fighter, but I guess each their own.
You say that like you know the blade?
No, it's just such a fancy blade. I would have thought someone out adventuring and fighting would have been better for
I
holding
mean,
such a weapon.
I have been. I've You're new around here. How long? I wasn't the founding blacksmith. I was a founding member. Like I went out adventuring with them
Oh, you
initially.
adventured.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I've
I'm
stopped
sorry, no
since,
offense,
but fair.
sorry.
A little-
It's
little
not
bit
very often you get
taken.
blacksmiths who were also adventurers. I've been around a long time, and things I haven't, assumptions pre-made in my head. I must step back and apologize.
I've been around for 470 something years. You can't have been around that.
She gives you that sort of like a half smile that's like, you don't know if she's saying, what do you think? Or she's saying, you're not really sure direction. You know, it's one of
Yeah.
those like,
It's
maybe she
something.
is?
It's throwing me off.
Like,
Yeah.
it's lovely to meet you. I'm Ray Oren.
Nice to meet you. I'm Etch.
Comes over, gives you quite a firm handshake. Actually, sort of just tucks the cigar behind an ear and just gives you this firm handshake. Firmer than you'd expect, but not, impossible for someone
Taken
a
off
human of
guard.
that nature.
Stand up to.
Yeah, she just starts taking a look around, sees, the crystals. She's not really touching anything. Obviously has a level of respect and stuff like that, but focuses back on the blades. It's very odd for you to come into contact with a Pyrwelven blade.
Yeah. How did you know it was? Are you a historian?
I have a couple in my collection. They're not my
Oh.
fanciest thing. I do prefer gold, but yes, the craftsmanship, it's very classic. I'm sure you can already tell the number of times they tend to fold the blade is far more than you would these days, but modern
it's
technology
exquisite.
stays sharp for much longer. Possibly, I believe this would be a Vorpal blade.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes,
Had-
inventors of that. Did you know? The
You
Pyrwelvens.
what?
I didn't. The Pyrwelves. They
Pyrwelvens did.
invented this.
Oh.
Vorpal magic. It's this coating, effectively, that makes it sharper than you could ever imagine. I'm sure
Well, I've
you
made
know.
some modifications of my own to it as well. It's harder to see.
Well, there are some that would argue with ruining such ancient history, but you haven't made too much of a mess. It does look nice. These crystals, I don't recognize those.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, they're very unique to this area. It's kind of my specialty.
Fair enough. Everyone has one. I assume they're powerful in some way, not just decoration.
Yeah, they create a bond between the user and the blade.
Interesting. Well, anyway, I'll leave you to it.
Thanks. See you around, I assume?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. She gives you another one of those, like, smiles. A little sort of sly smile. Looks you up and down a little bit. It's like, huh, and then just shuts the door and leaves.
Very odd.
Is there anything? Ow! Is there anything else? Sorry, I tried to slap a fly and I punched my desk. Is there anything else? Is there anything else that any of you others are going to be doing? There's a conversation between Zegith and Elsie if you want that to happen.
Can do.
Yeah, might as well. We're going around the group. You're going back to your room, your sleeping room or office, sort of library. Where were you?
Sleeping room.
Because you do have a little area in there. Obviously, you have your flat as well. I think this room isn't as nicely laid out as your home at your parents' or the flat that you currently stay in. Because you don't really stay here too often. It's more just like a bed and some desks with some nice, maybe up painting or something on the wall, just to make it not look like a bland wooden building or stone building.
She would have decorated it, just not as much as the.
Exactly. But as you sort of are stepping in, you hear a little clap, clap, clap coming down the hallway as like a half-jogging Zegith is sort of just catching up, a little bit of his armor just clinking along, you know. As he's like, sorry, are you okay?
She's gone back.
Come on, let's go inside. He sort of gently puts a hand on your back and sort of guides you inside. There's a chair and a bed, so I'm sure he just gets you to sit on the bed nice and comfy, pulls at the chair with a little as it brings it over, and sort of sits down. I think he rests a hand on whatever, sort of your leg probably, whatever, if you'd have a little bit of a lie down or whatever's closest, and doesn't say anything immediately, evidently letting you sort of speak your mind if you want to, giving you that space.
She's probably just laying there staring into the void. Like, and she's still in complete shock.
I think after a couple minutes, he says, "You know she'll be back, right?"
What if she can't get back?
Oh, don't let her know that you didn't have that faith in her. This is Ray. We've seen her do things more powerful than could be imagined. It's the same as you. I don't doubt there's a way home.
She's gone back, and Lady Thaid is there, and from everything I've heard from her and what she said that Juniper said, it's just, what if Lady Thaid is too powerful?
It's possible, but everything we do is dangerous.
Yeah, but she has us. Now she doesn't.
I think all we need is a little faith. And I am more than sure she'll be contacting us